Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to embark on a really incredible journey. We're zooming all the way from the freezing, wind-scoured ice shelves of Antarctica straight down into the microscopic machinery of a genome. Our subject is the emperor penguin, and we're going to decode the actual biological secrets of what it takes to achieve true survival in the harshest environment on Earth. So how do you actually survive a negative 40 degrees Celsius winter in the total dark? Picture this extreme environment that pushes life to its absolute limits. Howling winds, pitch black, freezing temps. For us humans, that's a fast track to freezing, right? But for the emperor penguin, well, it's just breeding season. How on earth do they pull this off? Let's get into part 1, visible tricks of the trade. If you were to walk up and look closely at an emperor penguin, you're essentially looking at a physical fortress. The first line of defense? A thick 2-centimeter blubber glove of subcutaneous fat. But it definitely doesn't stop there. Their outer feathers are coated in a specialized oil from the uropegio gland, which makes them entirely waterproof. And underneath that, they have the densest feathers of any bird on the planet, literally 15 feathers per square centimeter. Combine that with a very small surface area to body ratio, and they can easily lock in their body heat while keeping those deadly 200-kilometer-per-hour winds completely out. Now, this brilliantly illustrates the sheer power of social huddling. When scientists simulated penguins using grouped and isolated test tubes, the results were mind-blowing. In just 20 minutes, an isolated single test tube loses 34 degrees of heat, while the grouped ones lose only 21 degrees. Out on the ice, this isn't just a fun science experiment, it's a high-stakes survival tactic. Male penguins fast for up to 4 months while incubating a single egg. By grouping together in a tight, constantly rotating huddle, they share heat, save precious energy, and survive a freeze that would otherwise be a total death sentence. Moving inward, let's look at part 2, the deep dive reflex. Okay, so the moment an emperor penguin dives into the ocean, it enters a world where oxygen is a rapidly depleting currency. This state of inadequate oxygen in the body tissue, known as hypoxic conditions, actually triggers an automatic, involuntary biological protocol, and it's designed to protect their most vital organs at all costs. The whole thing is triggered simply by cold water hitting their facial receptors. Their bodies literally restructure on the fly. First, apnea kicks in, stopping their breathing to protect the lungs. Then, bradycardia drops their heart rate way down to conserve oxygen. And finally, peripheral vasoconstriction violently reroutes the blood supply. It shuts off flow to the freezing wings and feet and shunts all that warm, oxygen-rich blood straight to the brain and heart. It's basically a total internal lockdown mechanism for extreme survival. All right, part 3. Zooming into the DNA. To really figure out how the emperor penguin became this ultimate survivor, scientists needed a point of comparison. Entered the sister species, the king penguin. While the emperor breeds on harsh Antarctic sea ice in negative 25-degree winters, the king penguin breeds on ice-free sub-Antarctic islands, where winters are a much more manageable 3 degrees Celsius. Comparing these two is the absolute perfect way to uncover how genetic adaptations to extreme cold actually evolved over time. So, what are they actually looking for in the DNA? They're searching for signatures of positive selection, that evolutionary process where specific genetic mutations that give an animal a clear survival advantage become fixed in a population over generations. To understand the emperor penguin, we have to find the specific genes that endured that intense evolutionary pressure. And the visual proof here is just striking. Look at the sheer length of those blue bars corresponding to the emperor penguin lineage compared to the yellow bars of the king penguin. That represents a vastly more pervasive shift in selective pressure across the emperor's DNA. It completely confirms a massive ecological transition. Their extreme cold adaptation isn't just some minor tweak, it's a highly specialized derived state that happened because they moved into a radically colder environment than their ancestors. Let's get down to the molecular level in part 4, the genetics of cold. To find these exact adaptations, researchers didn't just guess. They analyzed a massive data set of 7,651 orthologous genes, meaning genes shared across different bird species, just to pinpoint exactly where the emperor's DNA diverged and intensified. And here's what they found. Out of thousands of genes, a specific subset showed strong signatures of positive selection. We're talking about genes governing things like lipid and fatty acid metabolism, phototransduction, and glucose management. But here is the crazy part. These exact same genetic pathways for managing fat, energy, and cold are shared with other legendary cold-adapted animals from completely different branches of the tree of life, including the extinct woolly mammoth. It turns out nature has a very specific, shared genetic playbook for surviving the cold. Now, one gene in particular stands out as the ultimate evolutionary thermostat, and that is TRPM8. This gene is the biological sensor for noxious cold. It essentially dictates exactly when a chilly sensation crosses the line into feeling actively painful. It's the gene that tells an animal, hey, you're freezing, get out of here. But in the emperor penguin, this TRPM8 gene underwent a remarkable mutation. It changed a single amino acid from isoleucine to threonine. And that tiny change caused a massive drop in the receptor's hydrophobicity score, plummeting from a score of 99 in their ancestors all the way down to just 13. So what does this actually do? Well, it effectively numbs the emperor penguin to agonizing cold. It drastically lowers their sensory activation temperature, meaning they can stand comfortably on ice that would trigger severe pain and panic in literally any other bird. Which brings us to our final section, part 5, an evolutionary cul-de-sac. As miraculous as this journey from blubber to DNA is, all this hyper-specialized genetic engineering comes with a terrifying vulnerability. Extreme ecological specialization is a massive evolutionary gamble. You see, the emperor penguin's genome is so perfectly dialed in for freezing temperatures and sea ice, they've essentially painted themselves into a corner. By shedding their ancestral traits for these unique genetic options, they have virtually no genetic room left to adapt to sudden environmental shifts, like warming temperatures. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought. We've just decoded how the emperor penguin became the most resilient bird on Earth. But because their genome is trapped in this specialized evolutionary dead end, the true cost of their incredible survival skills might just be their undoing. As the ice they literally evolved to stand upon begins to vanish, we really have to ask, can the ultimate survivor adapt fast enough to survive a melting world? Thanks for joining me on this explainer today. I hope it completely changes how you look at survival, from the macro all the way to the micro.